This week's video is sponsored by Displate, the perfect way to make your fandom shine. More on them shortly. What is up, homies? Welcome back to the trailer reaction from Heroes Reforged. We're checking out the Avengers Doomsday Special Look from Disney's D23 Expo. I should preface this by saying that I was at D23 and I was in the Hall H panel for Comic-Con. So I've now seen this footage twice, so this is not going to be much of a reaction for me. But I will say, you know, I always feel like watching these trailers in those gigantic halls where you see it once, it all just goes by so incredibly fast. So I'm excited to just rewatch it and see like, what did I miss? What did I not catch the first time? I do find it very interesting that anytime, whether it's for Comic-Con or for D23, I think it's so interesting that they keep bringing out Downey, Evans, and Haley Atwell. Like, Evans and Downey make complete sense, right? Because they're both coming back. Haley Atwell, I'm like, oh man, I'm so fascinated to know like what her role is in this story. Because we
know what it is.
We don't get much.
Adam, we have to think back. Avengers Infinity War. You know who was doing all the press? Tom Hiddleston. He was doing all the press because he got killed off in the first 5 minutes, and he wasn't. I mean, he was in Endgame, but like it was a different, and it was a surprise. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I think that's why they're also bringing out the cast of the 20th Century Fox X-Men. You know, like constantly bringing out this cast. I think so. Not to say they're going to stay dead forever. I don't think. I mean, Adam, you and I got a text from a buddy this weekend that was like, he heard a rumor, our pal heard a rumor that if this is true, he's like, I'm walking out. And I was like, I hope that shit happens. I said, I hope that happens.
Oh, man.
Nothing's permanent, whatever. Okay, I don't want to, I want to apologize because the last time we did a Doomsday trailer reaction, me and Adam, like, we got chewed up a little bit. I did especially. I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. I absolutely am looking forward to this movie, and I saw a little clip of this, and I want to talk about it, but I have not seen this full trailer. But I still have my own comic book baggage and my own comic book thoughts, and more than that, I am trying not to let the internet, but also real life people talk to me about this movie, and sort of like I'm getting the real world expectations. I think it's been we've talked about this. I think it's been boosted since Spider-Man Brand New Day. We've talked about this. I think that regular audiences are like, oh, actually, Doomsday is going to be really good because Brand New Day's story was really good. The script was really good. So not to yuck anybody's yum, but I'm always thinking about that stuff, and I'm really excited to watch this movie, and I'm really excited to what's going to happen with Marvel after this movie.
Yeah. After this reaction, I'm going to describe how Hector's mind works, and I think Hector's really gonna like it. So we'll do it after. Wait till after the reaction, because it's
you got it.
You'll understand more of Hector once I describe it this way, and then everything Hector says is going to make 1000% sense. So let's watch this, and then we'll get into Hector's mind.
All right, I'm excited. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
I already love it. It's good. Call it. Turn it off.
There's always the smartest guy in every room. He used to be different.
Victor. Already the vibes are immaculate, dude.
He used to be kind. He used to be caring. And then... everything he loved was taken from him.
Okay.
I knew he was lost, but I did not realize that he was broken.
Yo, look at that armor. Jesus. Whew.
Victor, did you do this?
Yeah, bro. That's the clip I saw.
All of you.
Did you do this?
Have lived.
Interesting for his mom.
Stolen lives. Now you must give them back.
Give them back.
Did you do this? I swear you will beg for hell long before I grant it.
Yep.
Sass. He's like, man, shut your bitch ass up. Farts.
Answers to me.
That's the most perfect Dr. Doom response.
Wow. I am Doom.
Doomsday.
So many things that I love about that.
This week's sponsor is Displate, the home of premium metal posters. These premium metal posters are a great way to bring the movies, shows, games, and artwork you love into your home or office space. Displate offers officially licensed brand shops alongside designs from independent artists, giving you millions of ways to express your passions and build a collection that feels personal to you. They're also designed to look great together, whether you're starting with one or turning an entire wall into a celebration of your favorite fandom. You can even create a custom display using your own artwork or personal photos. Perfect for your collection or as a one-of-a-kind gift. Every Displate includes a magnet mounting system that doesn't require any tools to install. Just apply the protective leaf and magnet, press firmly, and hang. No drilling required. It's quick, easy, and a great way to make your space feel like you, and a great gift idea. Use our link below or scan the QR code or enter the code HEROESREFORGED to get 22% off one Displate, 27% off two Displates, or 33% off 3 or more. Discounts are not valid on limited editions.
So before we get into it, Hector, let me talk. So I was talking to somebody about how much I love and appreciate you being here, Hector. But I know that when things, when somebody talks about something, and this is like a Spider-Man / Hector analogy. Okay. Hector, you are the spider in the web of Marvel Comics. And when somebody talks about one thing in Marvel Comics here on one side and plucks at the spider web, it hits every single other line in that web before it gets to you. And then you have to, as the spider, make that connection to get to that point. And you have to like go through all the network of everything because you know so much shit that like everything just kind of like connects at a certain point. And so whenever you think about these types of things, whenever people bring up Doomsday and even things in the MCU, like all the stuff that you're always reading, that you're always knowing about, that you're always staying up to date on, all of that comes into question. And you're like, okay, well, this is here and this is there. And how does this, all of this make sense? Because it's already been created. And so in order to process it all, you need to bring all of it together. And you've always been like that, which is why, you know, like when you came around and you were like, I'm going to watch every single episode of Star Trek to make sure I can tell people definitely which one is the best and which one is not. And it all makes 100% sense. You know, like it's just, you know, so much.
Very kind.
You have to get to that point.
That's a very nice way to describe
your mind.
My obsessive compulsiveness, my broken brain. That's a very, very kind
but
way.
I think
that's not broken, brother.
Yeah,
that
but I think
not
like
broken, my guy.
It's exactly what he's saying is like you don't just look at it as one specific thing. It's not just Avengers Doomsday. It's everything that's come before, and it's everything that has the potential to happen after. Because every one of these movies has some kind of a massive effect on what happens next. And
Exactly.
You know, like obviously, like this will have a big impact on Secret Wars. Secret Wars will have a big impact on what happens in the MCU moving forward. And with that comic book knowledge and understanding that, like Kevin Feige has said it numerous times, they are referencing and looking at what they did in the original Secret Wars, but also the Hickman run. And for people like you who've read all that stuff and have read like multi-generations of comic books, it's like, what could happen and what likely will happen. I mean, there have been so many things that we have theorized and predicted that have actually come true. Like little character moments, big subplots that have happened. We've like just casually have said them and they ended up happening. So it's not that like anything that we talk about comes from like nothing. It's not just something that we're just like conjuring and pulling out from nowhere. It's because of the history of how much that, you know, collectively we've read too.
To be fair though, I feel like people arguing with us right now across the internet, this also all comes down to like our subjective take on this material. So when I do say like, look, man, I feel strongly that Batman has a no-kill rule for a great reason. I feel strongly that way because I can refer to the sacred texts or specific moments or specific stories. But at the end of the day, that's still my reading. And like, there is a level of every reading on every one of these fictional characters, they're all valid. But I do think that at least I can point to like, you know, well, this story was successful for these reasons as like evidence of, I think this take, you know, the take of Spider-Man being a struggling working class hero tends to be the more successful version of Spider-Man. Sure, you can do a Spider-Man who's also operating a giant mecha in Japan. That's a take, but it's like, it's not the sort of definitive, you know what I mean? Anyway, all this to say, I'm not trying to, yuck people's yum when I mention some stuff. And one thing I want to mention about this trailer that I did see a clip of was Reed Richards saying, "Did you do this?" And I love, and it's such a great Richards moment. First of all, this whole trailer is just aura farming, as the kids say, for Dr.
Yeah.
He's showing up and swinging his big dick energy. Like, it's awesome.
Big metal dick for sure.
Opening on the throne, having all the characters, all the heroes talk about him. He's so broken. The line with Thor I thought was great. And then he said, "Hell answers to me." I was like, that is a perfect Doctor Doom line. Like, all of this stuff is working. I just cannot help that in the back of my head, it does bug me a little bit that, and it's only because I have not seen it play out, the fact that Vanessa Kirby, Susan Storm, Pedro Pascal, Reed Richards know and recognize this Doom. Maybe they're just recognizing the mask and they're like, that's our Victor. And then at some point when that pops off and we see a scarred or regular face Robert Downey Jr., they might go, wait, actually, we don't know who this Victor is.
Yeah, right.
That's the only thing I'm thinking through, because at the end of this, I just don't want Doctor Doom to be a one-off thing. And I also don't want Robert Downey Jr. to continue playing him going forward. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, is Iron Man. We've talked about this before. So I'm just thinking about having fun with this great fun movie. And in many ways for me, this Doctor Doom casting is on some levels the same as Henry Cavill Wolverine. I know that it's different because I'm not saying acting ability. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Henry Cavill Wolverine was a really fun little moment and a fun detour before we got to the real Wolverine, which was that Hugh Jackman Wolverine for the story. And even that's an interesting detour, because now we're probably going to get a new Logan in the MCU, but that's later. That's all I'm talking about. Is that, like, that's it. When it comes to the MCU, the sacred timeline, I still have in my heart my take, whether or not it's right, whether I'm going to be proven right or wrong. If I'm proven wrong, oh well, whoopsie me, I'm an idiot. As I still love the Fantastic Four to be an integral part of the Marvel universe. I still would love a revelation to be like, that whole 60s universe, it was a lie, Steven. A lie. It was a farce. It was a 60s pocket universe created by the omnipotent Franklin Richards, and who even retroactively put his own ass back in the womb to just make it seem like this has always existed and they've lived in the 60s and blah, 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 blah. In an effort to hide his family, to protect his family from the multiversal threat of Doctor Doom. I would just love for that to be recognized, erased, like merged, restored, so that Pedro, Vanessa, those actors are in the MCU and they live in the Baxter Building in New York. And they can just talk to Spider-Man. It might not seem like a big deal to people, but I don't want the Fantastic Four separated by a universe. It's the best thing in the world when you read a Marvel comic book and some shit's going down and they can just call Reed on the phone. And that is different, or just go to his house or go to their house. It's different than let's puncture through the dimensional barrier to call Reed Richards in universe 838. It's like, I know it's just one extra step or whatever. But anyway, the point is, I am thinking about what's going to happen forward with the Doctor Doom character. And this looks like it's going to be a kick-ass good time. It looks like the people making this know Doctor Doom and know how important he is. But I also still believe there's going to be a rug pulled out from under us. That's why the Russos and Kevin Feige brought back Robert Downey Jr. Right. Because if they were just doing Doctor Doom, we would have had a new actor cast in this role and it would have been the same movie. But there's a reason for all of this. So I'm just in this fun space of like, enjoying this now, but also going, I really hope that, that,
this isn't
certain things, right, that certain things play out and this isn't it. Because I want to see Doctor Doom continue basically forever. I want him to be a Loki. I want
like
him
another
to be
20, like why can't he be around for another 10, 15, 20 years?
Yeah, absolutely.
So RDJ's, not old by any means, but he's 60.
But, and
again, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart are in this, but they don't got much. They don't got much time left.
But these are this is the retirement X-Men. This is
I mean the characters, not the actors.
Adam.
Right. But anyway, I hope that clears it up, and I hope that like if anybody was ever pissed or like bummed out by our conversation, it's like don't be bummed out. I'm on board, dude. Again, this looks so fun and so well done, and I am recognizing the writing and I'm recognizing the aura farming, and I'm like it's working, but it's also just what are we gonna see going forward, and
Yeah.
You know, it's because the MCU has given me so much. I'm greedy. I want to see Monica Rambeau.
We were all there during Hall H when Robert Downey Jr. was announced the first time. All three of us were confused as fuck.
Yeah.
And from that point on,
what?
we were like, from that point on,
wait.
I don't know if exactly.
Wait a minute.
We spent the last 2 years acting that way about Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, right? I'm still not 100% sold on Robert Downey Jr. And I've said that time and time again. I'm not sold on him as Doom like I was not sold on what's his name? Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Mm-hmm. I don't think he fits as this character. Will he do a fucking bang up job of it? Probably. Robert Downey Jr. is an amazingly talented actor. Is Marvel giving us iconic Doom stuff with the green flames and the throne and all? Yeah, 1,000%. That at least makes me feel better that I know that Marvel's headspace is at least in the correct place with Doom. They're giving him kind of the space he needs to breathe so that the rest of the universe understands why we love Doom so much and why I specifically love Doom so much. And it's because of this theatricality that we're seeing. Like, there's Sentinels in here. Like, there's straight up Sentinels. We have not seen Sentinels in anything else, right? Which leads me to believe that this is not the main universe that we're dealing with, because we're not dealing with Sentinels yet. The X-Men cast was just announced.
Multiversal threat, right?
We just got the inhibitor chips that inhibit mutants,
right?
You know, like we're not at the place where Doom is showing us right now, and what the Russos are showing us right now. So I do believe that we are going to get, this is going to be a red herring. Like, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be replaced by somebody else as the real Doom. And the thing that really kind of sells me is the way he says Doom falls flat for me. Because when Doom says Doom, it's always all caps in big, thick, bold letters.
Yeah.
It's fucking Doom. Like, there is some bass behind that voice. That shit should make you shiver. And it didn't make me shiver in this trailer. He said it, and it sounds great, but I'm like, it's missing that little tinge of fear that you should hear when you hear Doom's name. So
look,
it's 1,000% on board, but this ain't the final Doom.
Right. This is not the final boss. This is only his first form. You know, going back to the great connectivity between Endgame and this, it's in Endgame, you had characters say, when you mess with time, it tends to mess back. That's what they're going to... Marvel's going to either use that in a trailer, or the fan edits are going to use that constantly in a trailer. Like, this is that. I think that great time travel trick of, like, Back to the Future 2, when Marty comes back and he's like, what? Biff's the mayor, or Biff's the president, or whatever? Like, whatever the Avengers did, Steve Rogers going back and maybe retiring in an alternate reality... Stuff like that is going to be like, and now Victor Von Doom looks like Tony Stark. Like, it's going to be that messed up. It's going to be that, you know, that at the end, when the heroes restore everything and the timelines go back to normal, it means that Tony Stark will go back to normal and his memory, and he will still have past. And then Victor Von Doom will kind of go back to normal. And we might even see at the end of Secret Wars, just like the comic book, that we will see Doom unmasked, and now it's going to be a new actor. And Pedro Pascal Reed will sort of be like, there's my Victor. Like, something like that. Something like that, to be like, and now things are back, and now us and Victor are back where we belong in the sacred timeline. You know, something. Who knows exactly what they're going to pull off? Like, again, this is the same company that brought in Evan Peters to play Quicksilver for the TV show WandaVision. Like, they know what they're doing, and it's fun to speculate, and it's fun to kind of to be excited about what's going to happen afterwards. But anyway, I think that was a really solid trailer and great Doom moments for sure.
Totally. And I think also just looking at, like, what the story could be based on what we've seen, right? We've seen moments from the trailers, especially that last one, where you get these images of multiple Earths colliding, and it looks specifically like 3 Earths, and it could be potentially the last 3. It's 838, it's the Marvel Sacred Timeline, and it's the Fox X-Men universe. And those are sort of the 3 teams that are kind of left to potentially defeat Doctor Doom. But then they're also not shying away from showing Thor's daughter, Gor's daughter, Franklin Richards, and then Steve's child. So it almost makes me think that because they have shown those children, because they sort of emphasize that Doctor Doom has kind of lost everything. He lost his mother, he lost his family, whatever, his wife maybe. I'm not totally sure yet. I think that there's some connection there. There's some connective thread there, and I think that's what leads Steve Rogers to come back into the story. That's why you see Thor aggressively attacking Doctor Doom. So I think there's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff at play too. And, the Russo brothers, I think, like everyone basically who works on these movies, they're all parents. So I think there's going to be like some of that storytelling used for the audience to feel some kind of empathy towards Doctor Doom, while still like, he's going to justify everything he's doing based on, however the story explains, like why there are incursions or why he's deciding to destroy these multiple universes, why he's creating Battle World. And then I think after Secret Wars, like we'll see Downey for these two movies. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if after Secret Wars, the universe sort of resets. And I don't think it's going to get put back together exactly the way it was. Like I do think that at that point, they will take the Fantastic Four from 838 and just put them into the MCU. And I think like maybe, I don't think any actors will necessarily change, but I think that will allow them to maybe use the opportunity to bring back the real Doctor Doom, if there is a real Doctor Doom, who is from Earth 838. And he's not a variant or he's not some other like dimensional version of him. Maybe it is an opportunity. Like there have been these rumors that they'll use it as a way to bring back Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, but Steve Rogers will be Nomad.
Better damn not.
And,
not be.
And Tony Stark will be a new actor. So I don't know. Like it's all up in the air, I feel like.
Spider-Man put me at ease that they are recognizing to not bring these characters back for fan service sake. Not saying that I want them back. I agree with you, Hector. Leave Tony Stark dead. Leave Cap in the past. We need to move forward. But if they are brought back in some sense, I hope it's a minor capacity. I hope it's just it really just service the story. If that can. If people can get over it enough to where like you see them on screen and they actually listen to what's going on. But yeah, I just, I feel like we're in a different phase, and I kind of like that this disruption is going on where we don't know what's going on. I feel like for the first phase, we called a lot of stuff because we know a lot of the stuff that's going on. And that was cool. That was fine. Like that, like they were going very kind of traditional, but at this point, everything's broken. The MCU is not doing so great, and in the larger scheme of things. And so to get people talking about this again, I think, like, look at how passionate we are again for this stuff, this is big, long conversations that we're having. And I think it's a good thing. It's making us think, it's keeping us on our toes, whether we're going to accept it, whether things are going to pan out the way that we would like them to go. Only time will tell. But I feel like this is getting me excited, at least to watch this, to see where it's going. And I mean, I can't really, expect anything else from it. Like, just get me hyped. Just let me watch this and let's see where it goes.
Else is what's really great about this trailer too is that Robert Downey's rocking these blue eyes as Victor Von Doom. Robert Downey has brown eyes, so these close-ups on his eyes, I'm like, they really are like
have blue eyes. You know where he does have blue eyes? In Tropic Thunder.
Kirk Lazarus, Tropic Thunder. Yeah, right. And with that, let's jump into our next trailer, boys. What do we got next?
VisionQuest is coming out in October. I got to be at D23, so I've seen this trailer, but I was just telling the guys that it was a little hard to understand some of the dialogue. So I'm looking forward to rewatching this with subtitles so I can actually tell exactly what the hell they were talking about. But it was a really good reception for this trailer. James Spader and Paul Bettany were there. I'm looking forward to this show because I feel like we've gotten literally nothing about this show. Not even, I feel like there was not even like set photos or anything about this. This is like a complete mystery how this is going to kind of close out this like WandaVision trilogy with WandaVision, Agatha all along in this. So looking forward to it, to seeing like what this is going to be.
This was one of the most fun projects. Like, I don't have a lot of the Disney Plus Marvel stuff on Blu-ray, but I definitely have WandaVision. Because it's so good. It's such a good rewatch. It's in my Halloween rewatch stuff. So I'm excited to get back to this. It's going to be, I think it's going to be fun. And, Paul Bettany's going to be a good time to watch on screen no matter what.
I think for all of the Marvel Studios like TV series, I do think that WandaVision and Agatha are the sort of undisputed, like, those are successful. Those are successful as a TV show. Yeah. And I know people love Loki. They throw that into the mix, and I think Loki's great. But in terms of like just for straightforward consistency, like those two shows I think are fantastic. And I hope that this is also like when these shows started, it was a big explosion of like, we need content. And Marvel may have really spread itself thin, and they've since sort of focused up, zeroed in, refined what they're working on. The past couple shows I've really adored. I really liked Ironheart, and especially liked Wonder Man. Wonder Man is this gem. It's a gem of a show.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you watch Wonder Man, you go, this is what Marvel should be doing with their TV shows. It's sort of, this is a great way to focus a lower budget, from a movie, but still do something really, really compelling episode to episode to episode. So I hope, even though Vision is another big budget, super powered character, the little I've seen of this, the fact that we're getting Ultron, but like when we see the trailer, we'll see the trailer. Like, I think it's so smart, and I'm so looking forward to, I think, the little that I know about this show. So I'm excited to jump into this. Let's watch. I have not seen this trailer. Let's watch
do it.
All right.
Us down, Adam.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Before you started working here, I remember when you'd come in all the time with that redhead.
I was a different person back then.
Sad.
How about now? Anyone waiting for you tonight?
No.
It's White Vision.
Almost just me.
Oh, are we just inside of his brain? That's great.
Whoa.
Hell yeah.
Who am I?
Oh, is it like
was
the
an
comic
Avenger,
book?
But I'm not a hero anymore.
I hope so.
I have his face, but not his virtue. All I have is his name.
Welcome home, Vision.
This house is getting crowded, Vision.
Ultron! Human avatars only.
Sir, I cannot overstate the dangers of keeping him around.
Yes,
Amazing.
but he is
Dad? Papa? Peepaw.
I'm a
Spader.
stranger to myself. That family wasn't real.
You sure about that?
I had a father, a machine called Vision.
Muzzle tough. It's a boy.
How is this possible?
Okay.
Free us all and save your son.
The final Vision.
I wish to understand my purpose.
With a genocidal maniac inside your head.
Nothing bonds a family together quite like mortal jeopardy.
Dude, it looks great. Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's such
the
an
set
interesting,
pieces
like,
look incredible.
yeah, I think it's such an interesting move where you have WandaVision that kind of takes place in this like make-believe fantasy that Wanda has created. Agatha all along, I think a little bit more of just like, yes, in these like interesting universes, but then this feels like a big chunk of it. It's just going to be like, we're spending time internally with Vision to see how he's kind of like deciphering and trying to figure out like who he is and what his purpose is. And then throwing Ultron into the mix, I think, is also very interesting. It's like therapy.
This reminds me of,
I love it.
I don't know if you guys did this when you were younger on your family's computer, but doing the defrag on a C drive back in the day, where you would watch like all the little bits just like go and lock back into place.
That's so funny.
And
That's
I felt
exactly
like I was
what's
doing
happening.
something. I'm like, okay, this is giving me those vibes of he's like trying to defrag his hard drive.
Right.
And there's all these little bits and pieces that he has to work through, which are not little bits and pieces. They're Ultron, which was a whole movie in its own.
Right.
But I'm really liking these set pieces. I'm really liking the costumes. I feel like it's a really good successor to WandaVision, because WandaVision, they even shot on different cameras to, be accurate to the time, to be, whatever they were filming on. So I think it's really cool that they're kind of carrying that over. Whether they're switching cameras or not doesn't really matter. But the fact that they're making it look kind of like a Wreck-It Ralph, but then going into like different kind of memories and visions that he has, I think it's cool. And is this character going to play into anything that's going to happen in the larger MCU? I don't know.
Right.
Would it be cool? Yeah. Do I need it? Not necessarily.
Right. What I do love about that idea is that when we saw Scarlet Witch in the Doctor Strange movie, if people saw her last in the Endgame movie and they're like, what the hell? Why is she a villain? There's a whole TV show that explains that. There's a whole TV show that, and if we see Vision again from at the end of Endgame where he died, or he died in Infinity War, or the WandaVision TV show where it's like, wait, I thought that Vision was dead. If he's going to pop up again, restored in his classic sort of purple and green and yellow outfit and be the heroic Vision that we remember, there's going to be a whole TV show that explains how the hell that happened. Right. I love that. This is what you do with the miniseries format is like, I think the same intention was behind how does Sam Wilson accept the mantle of Captain America? And that's what that TV show tried to explain to varying degrees of success. And I think ultimately was successful, but this is what's great about this. And I want to point out one spoiler thing that I had spoiled for me. I mean, I know that we've had some of these announcements in the past, so I kind of knew that like, okay, Ultron was going to be in it and James Spader was coming back. Yeah. I didn't know he's going to be human Avatar. I thought it was going to be like, I didn't know exactly what they were going to do. But I saw one spoiler image where somebody pieced together like, here are the characters that are in this. It's the Tony Stark AI Jarvis being played by James Darcy, who was the human Jarvis in the Agent Carter TV series, which I love. When
he showed up in Endgame.
He popped in at the end of Endgame. And I love when that happens. I loved when they brought back Anson Mount from the Inhumans TV series. Yeah. Fingers crossed, if anybody from Marvel's watching right now, bring back goddamn Gabriel Luna as Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. In the whether or not the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show is canon, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's just about, reaching back and giving that actor another shot and going, hey, let's reprise this role in a different context and let's have some fun. But James Darcy is wonderful as Edwin Jarvis, the human Jarvis. Then you also have Friday being played by an actor, and the two Tony Stark helper robots, Dumb E and U, just the letter U. These are two separate characters that are these little, those guys. I'm like, they're getting every sort of MCU AI. I hope that Jennifer Connelly has a cameo in this as Karen, the Spider-Man homecoming robot. Yeah. Let's have a human so I just love that the MCU has gotten to a point where you can do that with like the AI voices, from some of these previous installments. I'm so excited about this. I think it's so exciting because I love the Paul Bettany Vision. I would love to see him come back in a big way, but more than anything, I just want to see episodes where he's talking to James Spader. That's amazing. I couldn't ask for anything better right now. That's all I want out of the show. So I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. And then Vision's son is in it. Is that the character Speed? Is that going to be another young Avenger that they're like bringing, like the other son? Yeah, because we already have Wiccan in the mix. Yeah. So I think that's what we're getting. There's a lot of places like you're saying, Augustine, that this could like lead into later in bigger picture stuff. But more importantly, this looks really well put together. This story looks really fun, compelling, interesting, visually interesting. Solid cast, great performances. So I'm seated. My ass is seated. I'm into this. I think it's great.
Day one watch, baby. Yeah.
Honestly, watching this trailer, and even when I watched it at D23, I was like, God damn, it's been 5 years since WandaVision came out. I think I need to rewatch it to remember exactly kind of like what Vision's role was and where he ends up. Because I remember glimpses of it, but I do feel like if I go into this super cold, I think the show will still give you what you need in order to like understand what's happening. But I feel like it would be almost better suited for me to sit down and like just watch those 9 episodes of WandaVision. Because I mean, they're not even that long. You can finish it in like 3 hours, 2.5 hours, like a movie basically. Yeah.
But basically what happened was Pink Vision was talking to Caucasian Vision. And Pink Vision was like, who are you, motherfucker? And Caucasian Vision was like, I don't know. I do not know. I request elaboration, and had to blast off and go figure himself out. And now we're here.
And there might have been some kind of mind transfer at that moment.
Absolutely.
There was something
a little seed, a little something. I mean, it's cool that the white Vision body that was destroyed was the original Vision body. And you go all the way back to his first appearance as Vision in Age of Ultron. You could even look at that final scene between him and the final Ultron drone.
Right.
And as the camera pans away and there's just a little like energy because Vision apparently destroyed it. Even in that moment, you could go, Ultron programmed a little of himself in there, because he couldn't get access to the internet. He was cut off from the internet. So he did a little something before his little body drone was destroyed. I love that. And I think it would be great to have Ultron as a recurring I mean, come on, he's just too good. You guys remember What If he became the ultimate Galactus level? Like,
it was awesome.
He's terrifying, dude.
Yeah.
And just anything with Spader, it's the best. He has that capability. So I'm glad he's not out, that he's maybe still alive. So that's very cool.
Yeah.
And it's also cool to just get a glimpse of this like updated Vision suit, this like new Vision suit that he probably will get at the end of the show. That's the other question too, is like when he reverts back to being like classic Vision, will Ultron and him separate into two separate like actual physical beings that are actually like in our real world?
Right.
Like what's going to happen to Ultron after that? Is he going to be able to like manifest himself into like little technology that can like what?
I'll tell you right now. Ultron is going to be like, oh shit, I'm out. I can't be here. I can't be here on this planet right now because these Avengers will kick my ass. He's going to blast himself off into space. And in the comics, he joins the Phalanx like alien collective and becomes their leader. The Phalanx, know that I'm pronouncing that wrong. But the Phalanx
sounds right.
Alien horde of kind of becomes like almost like a mother queen to like this really the Phalanx. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, you know when you say a word and you're like, it doesn't sound right in my mouth. I know it sounds different in my ears. Anyway,
in your brain.
That's comic book brain. When you spend a whole lifetime reading it as Thanos, and then they're saying Thanos, and you're like, okay, that makes sense. There's no Y in there. There's no Y.
God damn it, son of a bitch.
I was mispronouncing the fake word. Okay, good to know. Good to know. It's Namor? Okay, good. Whatever. Anyway,
got it.
He'll come back in Guardians of the Galaxy 4. That's what he'll come back.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
It'll be called
interesting.
Guardians. It'll be called Annihilation Conquest or something. That'll be great. All right. Anyway, that's what's going to happen.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, if I'm being totally honest with you, like when I saw the trailer D23, I was like, all right, that looks cool. I think literally sitting here rewatching with you guys, I'm like, well, I think I'm more excited for the show now after having this conversation.
Because you're watching with your homies.
Yeah, exactly. When I think it also just helps to like when we talk about stuff, you know, everyone's kind of bouncing off their ideas, their thoughts, their theories, and I'm going, oh. Yeah, I would have not thought about it that way, but that makes total sense. So yeah, I think I'm like I was here in the middle, and now I'm a little. I went
a little extra. Okay, let's cook. Yeah, they're cooking. All right.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for this white boy. I hope he figures it out. That's all. It's just you know, it really is. It's gonna be white boy fall. It's gonna be white boy fall.
Exactly. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How are you feeling about this first look at VisionQuest? What are you looking forward to seeing, and some theories that you might have as to what's gonna happen in the story. Check out everything else we're watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
That's why we are watching.